Hey guys, welcome back to Roofing Insights. As you already know from the title, this video is going to be about being a roofer and being a business owner. I publicly will explain why I chose to be a business owner and not a roofer. The moment it's changed, the moment I changed my ways of running a business, and this entire video will be about working in the business and working on the business, and why I firmly believe that this is the biggest mistake any business owner can make, is to work in the business. You have to work out on the business. It's the biggest sin. If you are the sinner and if you're working in your business, you have to repent, because you're punishing your business. To prove my point, I want you to be part of this conversation. Please comment below. I need your comments. I need to know where are you on this topic. If you guys need help to get out of the business and work on the business instead of inside the business, instead of having this full-time job, I want to help you in any way I can, because like I said, if you're the business owner, your job is not to work in. We are actually on one of my jobs here, came here, been managing it, have meetings with the crew, with the production manager, have couple calls already, the things we have to address to improve our processes. So let's go. So point number one, very simple: working in a business makes no financial sense at all. I want to share my personal story. When I was 18 years old, I was still in Siberia. My first job was being a taxi driver. I got a first car. I was a taxi driver. I was making about 1,000 rubles per night. I was in college, and I usually would go from 8 to 12, 4 or 5 hours prime time, and I would make about 1,000 rubles. At that time, you know, you can buy a good pair of jeans for that money. And my dad is very old school. He had a trucking company, and he's the type of guy who's always in. He had a lot of guys working for him. He was a crew leader. Sometimes he would take 20 trucks and go work for government or for big oil company to build a bridge or build oil stations, stuff like that. So when his truck would break down, my dad would go in and pretty much fix it by himself. He would not hire mechanics. He knew his trucks from start to finish. He could change transmission by himself, work on transmission, work on oil, changing that engine, sometimes rebuilding engines. I mean, huge tires, obviously. Everything in his truck he always done by himself, and he was owning, like, I think at the time, like 4 or 5 trucks. And he was very old school, hands-on. But I remember when we bought a car, I was a taxi driver, it was -30, -40 outside. My heater broke, and we didn't have garages, so you have to fix everything outside. And my dad, he's that kind of guy. He will go and work in a car in -30, 40. And I remember calling my friend and asking how much does it he would charge me to fix. It was a ventilator, it was a heater pump or something. So pretty much, -30, -40 temperature, you need a heater. So I remember managing, driving to the shop, rolling my windows down, and my friend gave me a quote of 1,500 rubles, and I was making like 1,000 at a time. If I would attempt to fix it myself, like I knew how to get to it, I knew how to get a part, but I didn't have a shop. Professional shop, it took them about 3 hours, 3-4 hours, 1,500. That was the cost. For me, I could make 1,000 in 3-4 hours. It would take me 2-3 evenings to fix it myself. So instead, I dropped it off. I was in college, so by the time it was done, I finished all my homeworks for 3-4 hours. So just reading, writing, whatever I have to do for school activity. And then I took the car and actually was able to work the same night. So I didn't skip the work. I still was making my money. It was good. But I remember when I came home and I told my dad what happened, and that he asked me, how much did you pay? And I said 1,500. And I paid my own money. Like, I already was making money. My dad yelled at me saying, what kind of man are you? Like, you can't fix your own car. And it's just a mentality, and I'm here to tell you, everything you do in your business is a mentality. If you think you're the only one who can fix your car, you're the only one who can install the roof, who can answer a phone call, who can sell, you're delusional. Many people can do what you do. It's your ego, it's your pride, but we'll talk about it later. So my dad, he He's a typical hard-working guy, and I understand him. I was there many times myself years later when I started my business. If you would work for me when I was installing floors in my first business that I started, you would only be opening boxes for me. I would not let you to install my floors. I was that guy. I was my dad 5 years later running a business, and my mentality was, because I sold a job, I have to install every floor, by every board in the floors by myself, because it was my name on them. So I guess that was my dad's mentality. But my first point is, it makes no financial sense. You want to grow your business, you guys have to get out. And for me, financial sense back then when I was a taxi driver was to do what I do best. Drive the car, make $1,000 per night, and if your car breaks, pay someone to fix your car. I was not a mechanic. So very early on, you need to understand what makes the most financial sense for you. If you're good at sales, go sell. If you're good at marketing, go market. If you're the best installer and you're the only one you think you can repair the jobs, do it faster, maybe do that. Maybe you have the best voice and to answer phone calls, you think you can outsource it, maybe do that, but only do what you absolute best, what's your expertise, and what makes most financial sense. And I'm here to tell you, most of the jobs in your company is easier to outsource, and I'll explain later why. But first, working in a business makes no financial sense. You have to get out, and it pays way more to work on the business than in the business. There's not a single position in your company that can pay you more than actually running successful business if you do it right. If you want to be boxed in and just be there, then you'll make a lot of mistakes and you will not make a lot of money because you have a job, you don't have a business yet. My second point about working in a business, it's only good for your ego. It's not good for your employees. It's not good for the business health and management in general. I know because I've been there. I remember when I was installing floors, tiles, when I was hanging siding, when I was working in installation jobs, I'm very competitive. So I knew my quality was, untouchable. I knew how fast I was, and I always took pride in it. That's one of the reasons I did not want to outsource it, give it to other crews. Like, people were begging me for work and I would not give it to them because it brings a lot of satisfaction to yourself, but you have to park your ego on the side. Whether you're a good cook, whether you're a good salesperson, you have to learn how to. It's much harder to train people to do what you do, but you have to do it. You have to stop thinking about your ego. Stop thinking that you're the fastest and you're the only one who can do it, especially if you're a crew leader or I understand that you know it, but if you want to grow your business, you have to invest in your people. You have to become a better leader and you have to become a better trainer. You cannot do everything by yourself. So it's a lot of it has to do with your ego. I know for me it was about my ego. I remember installing insulation. We have insulation bags and they were paying us $5-6 per bag, and I was so fast. There was one other guy who could only compete with me, and we would go in a big house, and it's the nastiest job you can get. We've done crawl spaces. You go in, 3-4 feet, have to crawl in the back, put it right above you. It doesn't have paper, those crawl space installations, so it comes to your face, drops to your face. It's a very nasty job. But I remember, because we were counting bags, at the end of the job, I would have like 45 bags and somebody else get like 20. So I was making double the money. Felt good, but if I would be in installation business, that would be the worst position for me to do. My best position would be to train someone to sell, to manage the entire business, but not to install. Even when I was the fastest in that business, it still was only good for my ego. So park your ego and think what's good for the business, not for yourself and how you feel. My third point is, working on your business is a real task for real leaders. True leaders, they know how to delegate. It's hard to delegate when you know you're good at something. Like this job right here, I came here in the morning, we didn't have a yard sign. I was mad, I was pissed. I'm like, how come? It's a corner house, all other competition has yard signs, it's a hail damage area here. Why we're missing out on opportunity, why people don't know whose job it is, it was not sitting well with me. But guess what? I can't do it all. I know if I would sell the job, I would make sure I put the yard sign. There's a few other things that I have to address, but guess what? This is what you have to do. You're not the only one who can do things right. And it's really a test for leaders to learn how to delegate. It's much harder to train people than to always do it yourself, because now you have to trust them. I have to trust my team. You have to learn how to trust your team, hire them, knowing that they will make mistakes, and be okay with it, because mistakes is part of human nature, part of any business. Number 4 for me is working on the business is much harder than working in the business. And I know a lot of you guys will not agree with it, so comment below, let's have the conversation, and I will explain what I mean. So when you work in the business, you're responsible for few things, whether it's installing, whether it's selling, whether it's maybe something administrative, maybe you're accounting. I have friends who has accounting background and they open businesses, so they manage books, they do accounts payable, receivables, that's their background. You can be accountant in your company. If that's your expertise, don't outsource it, just do that stuff. That's gonna be your title. Maybe you're a really good marketer. You're gonna do just websites, don't outsource websites, just make it your job. Your title is gonna be marketing director at your company. So you still can have a job in the business, but my advice to you, don't have any job. So what's working on the business? It's pretty much be ready for everything. It's like a firefighting job. You're only dealing with the fires, you don't have any titles. The reason you wanna do it, because you don't want your business to depend on you. Even if you're accountant or marketing director, sooner or later, I still recommend you give up even that position. Like, I'm a marketing guy in my company, I promote my business, but I still hire a lot of people to help me with marketing. Can I build a website? Yes, I built my first website 5 or 6 years ago, but I hired 3 or 4 agencies after that to improve it. Can I do other things to help us, like Google pay-per-click, other advertising? Yes. I'm not gonna do it. It's not the best use of my time. Working in the business is easier than working on a business. When you work in a business, you have to invest in people. You have to develop yourself as a leader, and you have to keep growing. Just like if you're an installer, you have to keep improving. I mean, if you on the first year in business, you're probably gonna be pretty slow. You have to grow to, after 20 years, you're going to have all ins and outs. You're going to be very efficient. You'll come in on any job, you look at it, you know exactly what it takes to fix it, because you're a professional now. Well, the same goes with the business ownership. When you start a business, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. I know I make a lot of mistakes myself. You have to learn how to deal with people's mistakes, how to train, how not to raise your voice, how to find the key to every employee who works for you, how to make them want to work for you, how to attract talent. Those are very hard tasks, way harder than install a shingle, way harder than do single tasks like answer a phone call. It's way harder to do any single task like in the company, almost in every department. Yes, it's a job to pull a permit, and if you pull permits every single day, it's a hard job. But guess what? Navigating through all of this and watching the entire thing is way harder. As a matter of fact, if you talk about stress level, I know a lot of guys who committed suicide when they were running businesses. They were so stressed, and it was so hard and was taking so much toll on them, they took their lives. They could not handle it. I know when I was installing with my hands, I've been in 10 different trades. I have 10 different jobs over like 10 years. I work in a cabinet shop, I work in the flooring, I work in installation, I work in the roofing. I've done it all. And the biggest stress I ever have is when I start running a business. That's where stress really kicks in. Now you have to manage money, you have to make hire and firing decisions. Dealing with people is way harder than dealing with materials or people in a smaller area. Like if you pull permits, yeah, you might have a person behind the counter who will give you a hard time every once in a while. But dealing with a business, you're talking about taxes, you're talking about legal issues, you're talking about homeowners, you're talking about theft. We have people stealing from us tens of thousands of dollars, and you have to keep you cool, find a solution. So it's always harder to work on the business than in a business. Unfortunately, people who work in the business don't always see it that way, and they always think it's easy to be a business owner. And I'm here to tell you, it's the hardest job you can get, to run a business. That's why not so many people want to do it, and this is why so many people are fail at it. 80% of all businesses closed within first 5 years. If it's so easy, why such a big failure rate? Because it's not. It's the hardest job you can get. My point number 5 is very simple. You've heard me saying it a lot on this channel. If you work in the business and your business depends on you, you don't have a business, you have a job. So if my business depends on me installing roofs, I don't have a business. Because if something happens to me, if I fall off the roof, what's going to happen to business? If eliminating you will eliminate the business, you have a job, you don't have a business. Like right now, something can happen to me, something bad, I can get paralyzed, I can lose my sanity. My business, my homeowner is still going to be taken care of because I have a team who runs it. I'm still there. I'm still the owner. I'm still working on the process of trying to improve, having conversations. So I'm still working very, very hard, but business will run with me or without me. So if your business cannot sustain without you, you don't have a business, you have a job, and this is just another point I want to make, whether you agree with me or not. And I'm here to tell you also that you are right. For those of you who don't like me because I'm not a roofer, I never fought it. I'm not a liar. I'm not telling you I'm a roofer. I guess if I'm retired from the trade, if I'm not installing shingles every single day, I'm not a roofer. Yeah, fine. I'm a business owner, have different status. And it's, for me personally, maybe for you it's different, but for me it's much harder to do this, to be a business owner, than to be a roofer. Like, I know physically that one is harder, but mentally, and as far as toll on your mental health and on you in general, running a business is way harder. As a matter of fact, I met way too many business owners who said it out loud. They would rather go and work like they used to before, whether sell for someone or install, than to run a business. I'm serious. Not many people talk about it, but it's easier to sell and to install than to run a business, or have a salary managing like in a company. It's hard work. I'm not saying that I work harder than you, but I'm saying that for me it's easier to do physical labor because I've done it. Guys, for 2 years when I had my flooring business, I was installing floors every day. I was business owner already, but if something would happen to me, I would be out of business, obviously. But it was not as hard as when I stepped out and I said, you know what, I'm just not going to do it anymore. And the same happened, my first job was installing siding, $10 an hour. And for those of you also who likes to count someone's money, stop it. Never count your boss's money. Like, I've changed so many jobs, I never ever even thought how much the business owner makes. Market is fair. You getting paid based on your skills, your risk, and your value to the company, to the customer, so on. So I remember when I was getting paid $10 an hour installing siding for like 6 months. I did not care if my boss was making $4,000 a month. It's not my business. It was good position for me back in 2006. I moved from Chicago to Minnesota. I actually took a pay cut to take the job, but I'm glad I did. The point is, stop counting someone else's money. How much other people's make, it's not your business. Stay in your lane, be happy, and I was as happy making $10 an hour installing siding as today running $5 million business. Makes no difference to me. So change your mentality. If it bothers you that someone else makes more, or they work less, or you work more, you don't know. The reason that business owners sometimes make more money because they take way more risk. And also, it's not a fact. I know a lot of sales guys who make more than business owners. I know a lot of crew leaders, crews who make more than business owners. As a matter of fact, when I started Storm Group, for first 3 years, my top crew leaders were making more money than me. The guy I used to work in 2006 installing siding for $10 an hour. When I started my roofing company, he still was my best friend, and he started, every once in a while he would take my jobs. I would sub out jobs to him now, and he would make $140,000 a year, and I was paying myself $60,000 a year because everything else went back into my company. I was buying trailers, I was buying vehicles for my employees, for my sales guys. My sales guys made more money. Even after 3 years in business, I was paying more to my production manager. I was paying $100,000 a year to my production manager, and I was paying myself $80,000 a year. So I was doing more than production manager. He was working 7 to 5, Monday through Friday, didn't work on the weekends, and I was working 24/7, always available, always dealing with the fires, and I was paying him more. So stop judging business owners, because business owners, even if they make money, if they pay them more, they also have more risk. So stay in your lane. This is my message to you. Point number 6 is working in the business is just not a smart business decision, but I also want to explain to you what this job is. What is running the business? What's the position? Well, your position now to work on the business, and what it really means is being a business owner is becoming a better employer, becoming a better teacher, becoming that processor. It's to make average people to do really good results. So for example, you can be really good and fast shingler and stuff like that. I want you to think about McDonald's and Apple companies and airlines and all the big businesses around us. When you go to McDonald's, the process is so simple. You don't care who is serving you, who's behind the brand, is the business owner. It's about product. You want to make sure that product is the same, that burger is the same here as it tastes in China or any airport around the world, right? Because they have a process, they have a quality control. So your job is to make sure and ensure that your customers are always taken care of, your product is always top notch. So for me, I want to make sure all my roofs are the same. I want to make sure that customers here are happy, and you also as a business owner want to make sure that people who work for you also happy. So you connect the two biggest dots: customer service and the product and people behind this product. Make sure this crowd is happy and this crowd is happy. That's your job, and that's the hardest job you can get. Yes, you can go in and work on this product a little bit, but if customers start being not happy, or if you're a bad leader and you don't know how to manage people here, you're comparing everybody to yourself, maybe your managing style needs some work. I know I do. I know if I would rank myself, rate from 1 to 10, I probably would give myself 2 or 3 for my managing skills, because I know I'm a good worker, but I'm not a good owner yet. I know I'm just working on it to get better and better, just like workers get better. They say it takes 5 years to become a professional. Well, it takes way longer to become a really good business owner. That's why people who, are trusted with a billion-dollar companies, they usually make millions, because there's a lot to go in to make those executive decisions. And like, I know guys like me are not there yet. One day, hopefully, I'll be able to run, $50 million business or $100 million business. It's not the goal. I'm just saying, where I am today, I'm definitely just in the beginning. So I'm a good worker, but my business ownership skills only in the beginning. So just like back in the day when I was starting, like in a cabinet shop, in the beginning, you don't know anything about woodwork. 2 years later, you're building custom furniture. So when you start a business, you're probably arrogant, you're probably making a lot of management mistakes. We've made quite a few videos about those mistakes. You're comparing people to yourself, you're raising your voice, you're just overall rough business owner, and people are not attracted to you. Homeowners don't like you much, but the more you do it, the better you become. And this is the job. Become a better teacher, become a better leader. Point number 7, working in a business is a very selfish thing to do. I know it's very controversial when you even say it. How is it selfish that I work on my business? Well, because you only think about yourself. If you want to take pride in your work, don't even start a business. Don't hire people. And especially don't talk about other businesses. It's totally fine to be a middleman when it comes to businesses, because like I said, an example of McDonald's, an example of Apple's, big companies, it's a middleman experience all over again. Like when you go to McDonald's, Chipotle, any restaurant, when you go to hotels, when you go to airlines, we always deal with the middle people. But those middle people, they connect the dots and they make our experience, our life is much easier. Like for example, Uber, it's a middleman between people who has cars. They create amazing software. Some people hate Uber, some people love it, but they changed the world and they solved a really big problem, right? I mean, of course, if you were in taxi business, it affected you. And in a sense, Uber is the biggest subcontract, like is the biggest middleman in the taxi industry right now. They don't own the cars. I mean, you know the story. The same goes with the Airbnb. But it's okay to be in the middle. It's okay to be, you know, contractor who subcontract the work or delegate a lot of it, as long as people who you subcontract the work to are happy and people who receives the service also happy. If your roofs are good, if your crews are happy, you're excellent manager and you're a good owner. Salute to you. Now, if you're a shady business owner, if you make mistakes, if you treat your crews like crap, if you treat your homeowners like crap, I mean, you will be taken out. The market will push you out. You're not going to be successful. But those companies who do raise to 25, 30, 40 millions. Last week we were at Apple Roofing just a couple days ago, and Apple Roofing is going to do like 35 million a year. There has amazing culture. Ready Roofing out of North Carolina, the same thing, $7-8 million. People who work there are super happy. Their crews are happy. I've seen crews coming in asking for work. So if you want to run a business, don't be selfish. Don't try to do it all. Delegate, invest, push it out. So people who like to work in a business usually just think about them. They don't care about how people who even work with them. I see quite a few guys on YouTube these days who train other people, and they don't care about safety. They film other people, like other rookies walking in a video, and like on the edge, I'm watching it. I'm like, wow, this is just so dangerous. This is wrong on so many levels, because you take pride in what you do. I get it, but it's selfish when you're still there instead of stepping out and say, okay, my crew is going to do this and I'm going to do something else, but I'm going to teach them how to do it right. I want to make sure they're safe. I want to make sure they're fast, and I'm going to go and maybe get some more jobs to keep them busy. That's a giver mentality versus selfish mentality, like nobody can do it like I do. I'm almost done, almost to the end. Bear with me, I have a couple more points, but this is very big talk. If you're the business owner, you need to hear some of this stuff, because not many channels, not many people talk about this. Point number 8 is my analogy with a sport. If you think about any sport team, let's say soccer or basketball, like team games, team sports, you can be a great player. You can be good in defense, good in offense, but every team needs a coach. So when you're in business, you no longer can be a player. You are that coach. You have to see the big picture. You can't see big picture if you're actually on the field playing. And I see business owners make this mistake. They constantly keep going. And I remember I was working for a guy years ago, and he would come in. Instead of teaching me how to install a tile, he would take time from his estimates, from the paperwork, from accounting, accounts payable, receivable. He was behind on everything, because during the day he would come in and I'm like, Josh, can you please leave me alone? Like, I'm gonna figure it out. And he wanted to do that tile job, right? And you have to step out. Stop going on the field trying to help your players by playing in the game. Your team needs you on the bench, watching them, directing them, watching opponents, see what everybody's doing, giving them directions. Whether it's football, soccer, all games, the same in business. You are the coach now. Don't you understand it yet? You're not player. The moment you open a business, you said, hey, I'm becoming a coach. But what a lot of business owners do, they were players in a game. They open a business, and instead of becoming a coach, they keep playing a game with other guys. Well, you made the decision. You're not a player anymore. Step out. If you want your team to win titles, you have to stop playing with them. What will happen if you get injured? Who's going to coach them now? Maybe that's what needs to happen. Maybe you need to get hurt financially, mentally, stress out, run your company to the ground to make that mistake. I know that happened to me. I was so much in my business that I almost wanted to take my life, because I was stressful. I was in a corner. I didn't know what else to do. And at that moment, I realized I have to step out and let my team to do what they have to do, have to hire people so I don't burn out. If you're burning out on the field, it's because you're stressing out. And being a coach, it's not easier. You're still going to carry a lot of stress. But now you'll see the full picture, and you actually will do what you're supposed to be doing in your business. And that's working on the business, not playing the game in the business. Because my last point is working in a business will never let you see big picture. It's like a big puzzle. It's like big puzzle. Imagine huge stadium and biggest puzzle humans can do. Let's say you have a team of 50 guys who have to assemble puzzle, and each player will only see 10 feet or 20 feet around them. So to get the whole picture, somebody have to go all the way up, and somebody have to navigate, say you do that, you do that. So in your business you have about 5 departments. You have accounting, you have supplements if you do insurance claims, you have production, you have marketing, you have sales, you have administration. Those are big departments. It's like big puzzle. Sometimes they don't even talk to each other. That's why you need good CRM company, make sure everybody's tagging, make sure homeowners know what's going on, make sure production manager knows when there's a change order from the sales rep or from insurance department, all of that. So you're the business owner. You just want to make sure that all 5 or 6 or 7 departments that you have, they talk to each other. If you don't have it, you're absolutely going to fail, or you're never going to grow. And it's not okay not to grow. Running a business and being a business owner, it's almost like being a human being. You have to grow. If you're not feeding yourself, if you're not improving, if you're doing today what you've been doing 20 years ago, well, it just would be the same as you would be in a trade and your speed today is the same as 20 years ago. How is that okay? It's not okay. So if you become efficient being an installer, now become efficient running a business. So if you were doing 100 jobs 10 years ago and you're doing 100 jobs today, what happened? I mean, you can tell me something like, but I'm happy with 100 jobs. How can you be happy with 100 jobs? You didn't grow. Like, you did not grow one bit. So you're telling me that you can grow the body without actually growing it. If you're healthy business owner, you should grow every year. Why? Because if you're doing 100 jobs this year, those people will talk about you. You have referrals, you have, right? So next year, let's do 100 jobs again, but maybe you have 10 referrals. I'm not talking about huge growth, 10, 15, 20%. But business have to grow in order to sustain. If you're staying in the same place, you're actually moving backwards. So if you're not growing, I'm telling you, you're dying. And this is true in sports, it's true in trades, it's true in business. It's true because you will burn out just by sitting in the same place. I know you might be happy or maybe you don't have goals, but people around you, they have goals. Because if you are doing the same amount of work you were doing years ago, it means people in your company probably not growing. And I'm telling you, as a business owner, to business owner, if you want people to stay with you for years, they need to grow. Everybody needs to grow. Installers needs to make more money. Salespeople needs to make more money. We all have goals. Nobody's going to work for the same company for 10 years, because like inflation and everything around us is getting, prices going up. So you want to sometimes achieve your goals. People have goals, and you have to match those. So if you're doing the same amount of work, probably people around you are not growing, and you're probably not growing as well. That's all I have for you guys. Honestly, just wanted to have this conversation. It's been on my heart for quite a bit. I have quite a few students in the business school, and our motto is we help roofers become successful business owners. I know when I switched my life around, when I jumped out of my business to work on my business, something I have to live with, because I was that guy who always wanted to work with their hands. I was that guy who, I think I'm one of the hardest working guys you'll ever meet in your life, and I miss that feel when you finish the job, you look back and you just like it. I feel one of the reasons I do sports so much these days, because I like when my body's sore, and I'm trying to achieve some goals at the gym now. And when I go on the job site, I always go and deliver shingles. I always will help. I have no problem sweeping floors in my warehouse or doing physical work in my business when needed. But my goal is I don't want my business to depend on my help. And I do a lot. Sometimes I take care of all our vehicles, for example, not because nobody else can do it, but because I'm the right person to do it, because all titles in my name, and everything with the DMV. We have like 8-9 vehicles, trailers, all administrative work. So I can There's a lot of things in your business that you can't really delegate, so you have to do it as a business owner. If something would happen to me, my wife or someone else will, like my dad, they will take care of the problem, so business not gonna collapse because of it. But I still do a lot. I want you to know that I still work a lot of my business. I know on YouTube I don't show it, because I don't like to film on the job sites. I don't like it for liability reasons. I don't like to, with my body, I can easily get like 3-4 shingles, bundles on the shoulder, like a lot of other YouTubers do. But it's stupid. I don't agree with it. Like I can go and, roof a day, but what's this gonna prove? That I can roof? Like I'm not here to prove to my audience that I can roof. I know I can. You guys should know that I can roof. Roofing is not a problem, but I also know how much I read, how much I study, how much I'm involved in the roofing industry. I want to be an expert, so I know my materials, I know my studies, I know my shingles, I know manufacturers, and I'm not saying it's a higher level, but somebody have to do what I do. Like I know I can find people to install my roofs, but I cannot find someone who can go in and review all the roofing warranties to make YouTube video about warranties. I know me and my lawyer have to do it. So what I do today is taking care of people, becoming myself a better leader. I'm not happy with the way I run my business all the time. I'm happy for my team. We built an amazing team, but we do make mistakes, and my goal is to become the best business owner possible, probably 5-7 years away from that point where I can read people way better, when I can find the key for all my employees, where I can come in and just figure out what people want and how can I deliver it to them, stuff like that. It's hard. Managing people is hard. For me, it's hard. My accent and my background is not always helping me. For example, a lot of people, even when I'm nice and having friendly conversation, people think I'm mean. It just, I don't smile a lot in a personal conversation, so I don't know. I'm not really good at addressing mistakes, stuff like that. So I want to be a bit better leader. I want to be a better business owner. If I had to install shingles today for a living, for any reason, if I would lose my business and relocate, I would do it just fine. I've been pushed to the office. I never wanted to be in an office. I've never had sales job in my life. A lot of people who watch roofing insights, they think I'm a sales rep. You've never been in the field. It's so far from the truth. It's opposite. Like I only sold my jobs, never sold for anyone else. And I was pushed to sell my jobs when my crews were demanding, Dmitry, you should not be here. Please go and please do that stuff so we have jobs tomorrow. So that's why I did what I did. I hope this video helped at least one person. If you're that person, comment below. I want to hear from you. Please don't hesitate. Comment if you don't agree with me. My personality is like, even if you hate me and you think I'm evil and I'm like this greedy person, whatever you think about me, I want to see that comment. I want to see the conversation. I'm open to have dialogue with everyone and any person in the roofing industry who wants our industry to become a better place for business owners, for sales guys, and for crews. Let's make this industry better together. Comment below what you think. I'll see you guys in the next video.